Only got 2 hours, and I got hat head. So let's get going. Let's get going. Let's get this show on. Let's get this road on the show. Not how that goes. I feel like that's how that goes. Is that not how that goes? We're diving right in. No messing around. No pleasantries. No nonsense. Just go. Just paint. Paint, boy, paint. Brush number 4. Sounds good. Yay. Yay. Paint this barrel. I'm gonna focus on how to does paint with our transparents. I've been having a blast with transparents, and we're bottling this week. We're getting very close to release, so I can tease you more with them and not feel as bad. Is that it? I feel like that works. That's what we're gonna do. Go through and paint my barrel writer. That I need painted up. Although it's not really for the list that I'm trying to get painted, but it still counts. It still counts. I'm trying to get one list fully painted for my trolls. I haven't had a fully painted army list in decades, question mark? Like, I really feel like I wouldn't be lying to you if I said it had been decades since I've had a fully painted army. We're trying to change that I can say this year, right? Not quite loving what's going on. I could say that we're trying to change it this year, but actually we're trying to change it like this month, right? This next couple of weeks. I have a tournament in Las Vegas in less than 2 weeks. Not this coming weekend, but the following weekend, I'm in Vegas at a tournament that I'm going to get my poop pushed in, but I'm going to go and have fun anyway. I need to get out and have a hobby vacation. So call it 2 weeks. I'm going to Vegas where I don't have to man a booth. Right? I don't have to do anything other than hang out with old friends, meet new friends, and throw dice. That's all I got to do. And I will have a fully painted army by then. Well, okay, maybe not a fully painted army. Let's back up. A fully painted list. I don't want to get your hopes up too high, right? I don't want to stretch myself too thin. One of my lists will be fully painted. My Madrak list will be fully painted. That's my commitment to the June 15th Vegas tournament. Is that my Madrak list will be fully painted. I got my beasts basically finished. I say basically because I still got to do facing arcs, right? I got to paint arcs on all my bases for facing. I always do that last because it's the most exciting part of painting for sure by any stretch of the imagination. And so I always leave it for last so that I can have the absolute most fun humanly possible in the world of painting right at the very end. So that's my thinking there. I hope you're with me on that. Everybody loves painting the firing arcs on their models, right? I feel like it's just the best, right? There's not a thing in the world better than that. Unless it's, of course, a whelp on a pig. They're called pigs, PYGs. A pig on a barrel. That also counts. How's everybody doing? Everybody have a great weekend? It is dose day. Jen is not with us. She's working. We had to go do more manual labor this morning. Jen and I, in order to keep the lights on around here, have started working construction early mornings to pay the bills. So we had to go do that this morning. That's a joke. We're not actually working construction. But we are trying to cut down on the amount of bills we have. And one of the bills that we so desperately need to cut down on is our storage facility that we've paid way too much money to the storage gods for things that we don't need anymore, it seems. Some of it is. Some of it's like still like metal shop tools and things from my past that I can't just throw away. I need to sell. But we had 3 storage facilities in one area, right? But we had 3 units. I guess 3 units in one storage facility. Does that make sense? Yes, we had 3 units. We cut that down to 1 today. Saturday and today we were organizing and throwing stuff away and got it all cut down to 1. So that's good. That keeps our
huzzah, huzzah!
cuts our bill in
throw
over
back
in
my
half.
legs and pollute my britches with delight.
Hello, Greek Nakos. What's going on? 5 freaking months, man. Thank you. Muchos gracias. Thank you for hanging out. Welcome back, everybody. So that's what we did today. So Jen and I got home like maybe an hour ago, like right in time to scarf down some lunch, and then she had to go work. She didn't ship out any of the stuff today. She's bad. I shouldn't say that. But she didn't like go and do any orders today before we went out to the middle of nowhere and did the deal with the storage facility. So she's over there doing orders now. She's usually done by now, but now she's just starting. But she sent me a text saying that the cable guys are over there jackhammering up the driveway of the building, which is very, very good news. It means that internet, high-speed internet, modern 21st century science is being installed at the building, and we'll be able to move the studio over there, hopefully, #soon. Man, that would be great. I kept saying that would be the best birthday present ever. Is it too late to call it? It's like a belated birthday present if they get it done? Like, how long do they have to get it done where it could still count as a birthday gift? My birthday was last Thursday. Did they get a week? 10 days? I don't know. Necron, you just saw the ads for the new Snap Maker. It's going to be a while before I can budget for new paint. Snap Maker. I guess it works out, though, because now I'm unsusceptible to teasing. What is a Snap Maker? I don't understand this. What are you talking about? Schematic. Painted tons of terrain for Warzone Houston. Nice. Not right, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Jen doesn't mess around except today. Like, after you said you just got your shipment really quick, and then I told you that today she's slacking. She's not really slacking. She's over there doing it now. But usually, all of the shipments are out by noon every day. And if you place an order by noon Pacific time in the U.S., it'll go out same day. Not always. Right? Not always. Holidays and weekends, obviously we don't ship on the weekends. I say obviously, maybe that's not obvious. We don't ship on the weekends. We do try to not work every day. I mean, we still work, but on the weekends when the post office doesn't allow us to go drop stuff off, we don't pack and ship. So Fridays afternoon, like if you're after 12 p.m. place your order, it ships on Mondays. But other than that, we're faster than Amazon in most cases. Like, a lot of people like us better because we're actually faster than Amazon Prime. In most cases. Sometimes that's not true, but. We do pride ourselves on the quick ship. We always have. That was something that I was like, you know what? If you're going to sell things to people, I'm very impatient, right? I get really, really fed up if I buy something on, say, eBay. eBay's the major culprit because eBay is just dudes like us, right? Dudes and dudettes selling stuff as a hobby, right? Or as a garage sale on the internet, kind of an idea. And so you get people who don't do this very often, but want to act like they do, you know? So they call themselves, you know, Tony's Tiny Terrors, and he sells, like, you know, miniature monsters. I don't think Tony's Tiny Terrors is a real thing. If it is, I apologize. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. But, you know, so we deal with Tony's Tiny Terrors, and it turns out Tony ships like 2 things a month, you know? And yet he has good pricing, and he has a thing you want, and so you buy it. And you buy it at the beginning of the month and he just made his first shipment, and he's not shipping for another 3 weeks. But it says you'll get it in 5 days, because that's eBay's default. They assume everybody's going to ship fast. And Tony's Tiny Terrors doesn't ship fast. And so I get it, 3 weeks later, after the tournament I needed it for, or, I've already forgotten I ordered it, don't care anymore, the luster is gone. I'm a fairly instant gratification kind of purchaser, is what I'm trying to say here. And I know that's not the best way to be, whatever. But I've fallen victim to the whole instant gratification of the internet thing, Been a Prime member for God knows how long, since Prime was invented. And, I'm just used to getting stuff fast. And so I would want to make sure that anybody that orders from us gets stuff fast. So that's what we do. Tony's Tiny Terrors, on the other hand, that guy's just not doing his job. He's one of those eBay dudes that gets all the negative feedback and then bitches about it. It's like, well, what happened to, it said 5 days, fast shipping, fast and free, it says on eBay, and then it was neither fast, it was free, so, Somebody's going to go start Tony's Tiny Terrors now. There's a squished whelp on the front of the barrel. Very cartoonish. One of those limited edition privateer press models that is kind of fun. They do the... I don't know if this was a mini crate one or just a turn. I think this was just a show, like a convention special that you can buy at conventions still. It's a troll. It's a Northkin Raider model. If you know anything about trolls, that's the unit it is. It is just a Raider grunt. It's not a special unit or anything. It's just a dude. A 1 health dude that looks good on the table because it's fun. But it has no special powers. We just put some dark umber on the barrel. I'm going to show doing wood real quick. We showed with the hooch hauler what I was doing with the hooch hauler and the transparent brown. And we're going to do it by hand today and show you how well it works. Just throwing paint after it and then throwing some transparent on top of it. I'm really, really loving the transparents. They're making fast armies a thing for me. Well, I say faster. You just slop paint on and then put the transparent on and they fix everything. It's awesome. It's awesome. Necron, it's a 3-in-1 3D printer, laser, 3D printing, and CNC. Oh, okay, cool. That actually sounds pretty cool. Houdini, what's happening? You could personally deliver items on weekends? I could, but we won't. Banff, the old mini warehouse racket? Yeah, right. Less than a week to NC? You ordered on the 31st and got it yesterday? I feel like that's pretty good. I feel like that's pretty good. The 31st was Friday, dude. And you got it on Monday? That's hilarious. Flash Gets, what's going on? What webcam camera? Well, for the face cam, it's just a Logitech 930 whatever P. And then the camera here is a Canon HD video camera. I don't remember what they're called. The 650, I think is the number. I don't remember what it's called though. No, it doesn't have it. Every time I ask this, it doesn't have the name of it actually on the camera anywhere. Oh, it does. Vixia. We have 2 of these. They work really well. They don't require you to be in record mode for it to broadcast full 1080p. It'll do 60 frame and constant output. You don't have to have a battery in it. Like the batteries aren't in them. They can run just off the transformer. It's just a great little handy cam. It's nothing fancy. I think you can get them for like $200, $300, something like that. All right, we're just going to do this real sloppy. We're just going to go to light umber next. So Jen's the quick one. Does she read and reply to emails faster than me? I don't know. I don't know, dude. You're asking for miracles, dude. You're like asking for things that are like so far out of the normal scope of daily operations. You bastard. I know. I tried to do you a favor and it's caused problems. That's what I did. I should have never opened my mouth. I should have just shipped this stuff to you. But I can't do that, right? That's not how we do things around here. I'm like, dude, that's a lot of shipping, man. You sure you don't want to add some more products in? He's like, yeah, I want to add some more products in. How much? And I'm like, I'll get back to you. Crickets. It always, every time I say I'll do something that's outside the normal mode of operation for us, I always wind up screwing the pooch, so I apologize. I'll figure out how to get it done. I should have just handed it to Jen. She'd actually get it done. Got the box of stuff sitting there. I'm amazed she hadn't come back and said, so what are we doing with this? We've been so busy. But there's never an excuse for not paying attention. Here I'm just kind of, unfortunately, this wood texture is really, really cool on this model, not going to lie. But it's also not done to where I can just kind of run the side of the brush over it. Right? If the actual sculpt was really rough, I could go through here and just take the side of the brush and do it. Like maybe out here I can do it. Yeah, out here I can. It's a little rougher out there. So out here I can kind of just catch it to where it gets the high spots and doesn't get paint into the low. That middle section, I feel like it's a little shallow on the sculpt. Yeah, see, like right there, I get a little bit of paint into the dips, and I don't want to do that. Maybe if I can rotate the model right, and just be very light with the brush stroke, maybe we can get this to work. Barely using the side of the brush, no pressure. Then I got to come back and just make sure that these aren't all squared off like that. Give it a little bit of irregularity to it so it doesn't look like I just ran a brush down the line there. Yeah, just a damp brush. I'm not thinning the paint much at all. And this is basically just tracing. Not doing anything fancy. Just leaving the darkness in between the grain and also trying to leave some towards the metal banding on the sides just to give it some contrast. Super simple. I am going to do this all the way down into pretty much all the way down to the shadows here with this color because I'm going to go brighter. So this first pass, I'm going to go ahead and take the light umber and probably just get a little bit of these edges down below too. Not too bright underneath, but I'll run it all the way down. Didn't get any work done on our Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle guy. We will be picking back up on him, but I want to make sure I get all of the texture stuff that I started on the legs and arms and stuff at least roughed in first, so we don't spend another whole stream with me doing nothing but painting racing stripes on his arms. You weren't here on Friday or Thursday, you won't have any idea what I'm talking about, but we started on a really, really cool Ninja Turtle sculpt. Oh, and he does have them for sale. Everybody was asking, and the turtle is for sale. I will get a command set up in the chat by next stream, I think. Oh, I'm not streaming Thursday, am I? Rat bastages. I'll figure something out. By the end of the stream, maybe I'll figure it out, and I'll post up. If you guys don't let me forget, I'll post up a link for you on where to find that Leo sculpt. He said he'd be happy to make more. They may take a little bit longer to get each one shipped. But yeah, he was very, very excited and thankful that we had interest in getting the word around. So that's a good sign. He's got a bunch of new sculpts too. The guy is doing a lot of work. So fun times. Hopefully you guys can score some. Have some fun with a great model.
Hey, somebody likes us.
Hey! You guys know that's me. Like that voice is me. Jimbo, what's going on? What's happening? Thank you for the follow. Will it be all 4 turtles? I think he's just doing Leo. I didn't ask him. He's only done Leo in the past. He has a larger scale Leo that's in a little bit more of a kind of a aggressive pose to it, more of a theatrical kind of, feel, dramatic pose going on, and bigger scale. But again, like I said, it's just Leo. I don't know if he'll make any more. Once I give you the link, you can feel free to ask him. He just does his sales through Facebook. So he doesn't have a website, I don't think. I contacted him through Facebook. I simply asked him, hey, are you still able to ship these? I've got a lot of people on the stream. He came by and checked out the stream. I think he just watched the video after Friday and was really impressed with the model and said, yeah, he'd love to sell more. So he's a good businessman. He's like, I'm not going to pass up business. Said that would really help him with what he's trying to do with his studio to get the word around. And I was like, more than happy. The sculpt is fantastic. I love it. I don't think it's officially licensed, so I do have a little bit of issue there. So, that's one of those things that you got to kind of fight with, right? It's like the sculpt is really good, but it's not officially licensed. So what do you do? It's not recast. He's doing it on his own. It just would be nice if it was licensed product, but I understand to some extent. So we're criminals, all of us, is what I'm saying, basically. Not basically. It is. Like, we're all criminals by buying this thing. We're supporting theft of IP. Need a Krang? Krang from Marvel Comics? Is that a thing? Do I have that right? Was that guy's name, or is it Kang? Can't remember. There was a dude that was from like I think he was Hydra. What was he? I forget what he was from. I might have it completely wrong. That name just rings a bell with a dude from the Marvel universe. The Brain. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, I don't know much about the animated stuff. I don't know. Was that character in the comics? He wasn't in any of the comics I have. that I'm aware of. But I only have like the real early run. I stopped kind of collecting it when it went to, I think they went to, did they go to full color? I know they went to full color covers and regular comic size. I'd have to dig them all out again. I keep saying I'm going to go through my comic collection. It's all like literally right outside the studio here. I just have never gotten the time to go digging through all my long boxes. Thousands of books. I need to just sell them all. Like I don't, other than the graphic novels, I don't give a damn anymore. There's collectors out there that want my books. Have at 'em. Got bajillions of limited and first run sought after books that I just don't care about anymore. Those days are behind me. Again, just kind of quickly going through and picking out some of these details, almost like a dry brush, just using the side of the brush to give that same effect, but I want a lot of paint, right? So I am using wet and loaded rather than getting rid of all the paint. This one's going to be tougher. This I'm going to have to try to, maybe I can get the brush in there and kind of skim it. I'm lucky. Oh, it's kind of working. Afraid that if I push too hard, then the tip is going to bounce down into the recesses and mess it all up. Maybe we can do half and half. Half one direction, half the other. That sound like a thing? Working too shabby? Did it. Nailed it. You can see that the dark brown was literally just for the area in between the grain and the different planks. We're not concerned with seeing a lot of it on the face of the planks, except for around the edges, if you can stand to leave it there. Some sculpts won't let you get away with it very easy, but if you can, try to leave a little bit for shadows. You'll notice I'm still taking paint off of the brush on my thumb just to make sure I don't have a big droplet of paint, because I want paint to not go running into crevices. So even though I'm not glazing and I don't really need to be worried about consistency overly much, because I don't want any paint getting down into the area between the grain, if I can avoid it, that's why you'll see me still come over and smack a little bit of the paint off the brush on my thumb before I go to the model. Not just a obsessive compulsive thing that I do. It's literally doing, it does have a function to make sure that you just don't have that wet droplet of paint that, you know, smacks against the model and drips into the crevices, and now you have to go back and pick out that grain or just be unhappy. And I'm the guy that's always going to be like, oh, there's that one spot on the model where that really messed up and blah, blah, blah. So just avoid it. It's easier that way. Now we're going to jump right to golden brown. I'm not mixing in between, I don't think. I think we're just going to do this really rough, jump straight to golden brown, and then we'll use the brown transparent over the top of it. Real simple. Without a hat on? No, there's lots of times where I don't wear a hat. I had one on all today. I've got really bad hat head. I just couldn't stand it anymore. I was hot. We had to go lift heavy stuff. I'm dirty as hell. Like, I'm literally covered head to toe with like country dust. Our storage facility is out in the middle of the desert. So I got desert dirt all over me. Jen was like completely dirty. She's so funny. She is like super clean all the time. Like, Jen's never dirty, right? You don't ever see her sweaty and dirty. And she's out there just busting her butt loading up boxes. She'd show up and I'd be like, how did you lift these? And she's like, oh, don't talk about it. Because she's not supposed to be lifting heavy stuff. So I'm all like, don't do that to yourself. And she's just got just head to toe dirt. We had a couple boxes where it was just like, they had like motor oil in them, like old canisters or bottles of transmission fluid and motor oil. And so a couple of those boxes, were just like, one of them had transmission fluid leaking out of it. So dealing with all that, we were just head to toe dirty as anything. All right, so now I'm just going to catch the edges. Here you want to make sure that you're leaving a little bit of the other brown showing, and I'll taper it off as we go down underneath. But you want to leave that light umber, so I just kind of want to grab the top edge of some of these pieces of grain here, and then even on this little one, and then maybe just a little bit in the center here. Real loose brush strokes. I'm barely touching the brush to the wood at all. To the model. It's not really wood. Stop lying to yourself, Fuse. Just barely touch the brush to it at all, and just kind of real wispy light strokes. I don't want to get in there and be like very particular with how my brush stroke goes, because I'll lose that texture that I'm shooting for. And again, taper off as I go underneath, so I don't have much as I dip into the shadows. Like I said, I've been playing around with these trolls, using them as a test bed for a lot of our transparent stuff. Nixon, thank you so much. What's going on, everybody? Nixon Minis and the crew are here. What is happening? Welcome to Tuesday. I think it's Tuesday. We are just going through and showing how you can very quickly, with our new transparent paints, get some really cool effects, especially on things like wood, fur, leather. I was just saying how on these Troll Bloods for War Machine and Hordes, the army that I'm doing, I've been able to go through and use a lot of these transparents, use these army as kind of a test bed of, things I want to try with the transparents, ways of painting with them, what I can get out of them. Right now we're just doing these old wood planks, and you'll see how my golden brown is, I'm just going for colors with value that are in my brown spectrum. So we went with a dark umber, light umber, and now golden brown. Just a very easy threesome of color. No rhyme or reason. If you had, tan, you could do tan here. The color isn't as big of a deal when you're going to go, as you know, if you're going to be doing washes or transparent filters and things over the top of your colors. The base colors do matter, but as long as they're in the hue that you're looking for, like in this case, brown, right, then you're okay. Right? Everything's going to have a little bit of a brown tone to it. And then when we place the brown transparent filter over the top, it's the actual color that's going to, alter everything. And by doing so, we just want to make sure that we don't use you could do this in red and then put the brown filter over it and get a really deep kind of rosy wood if you wanted to. There's no limit to the colors you could use. But if you chose to use red, I would stick to, like dark red, medium red, bright red for this, because what you're really trying to do is establish volume and your shading, right? So as you're seeing, I'm being able to pick out the grain and I'm getting shadow laid down. I'm actually taking this up a lot brighter than I want it, because I know that the filter will darken it back down. Anytime you apply a filter over the top, it is going to desaturate your color palette, regardless of what it is, and knock it down a little bit in value as well. So by doing so, I'm just taking this up, and the color will look a little funky as you're applying it right now, because it'll be a little brighter than you want. The yellowy color on here is getting a little close and like dangerously close to the yellow on our skin of our trolls, but that's not worrisome because I know, because I've already done this. See, the cheater part of this is that I've already done it on a bunch of models, so I know it works. Everybody's like, cheater? Yeah, well. Not wrong.
Well, huzzah, huzzah! I'll just throw back my legs and pollute my britches with delight.
Who dat? T. Schmidt, 2 months. Thank you so much, T. Schmidt. How you doing? Welcome back, everybody. Hope everybody had a wonderful weekend. It is Tuesday, our first day of streaming of the week here. Jen and I had a lot of work that we had to do today out in the middle of nowhere, moving stuff out of storage again. If you're here, we did that Saturday, too. Or no, we did it Friday. That's right. We did it before Friday's stream, too. And we were all beat on Friday's stream. Jen didn't even join us because her back hurt so bad after working. So today we had more of the same. We had to go. We were consolidating our storage facilities down into one, from 3 units to 1. We succeeded. Feel like that's deserving of a big clap on the back. That drops our storage bill down to something that doesn't make me quite want to shoot people as much. Storage bills are the worst. Dude, if you have a storage bill, think long and hard about not having a storage bill. I don't even want to imagine what we've paid for our storage facility over the years for a bunch of stuff that we don't even need. Like when we look at it, it's like, do we even need this stuff? No. Ugh. Well, put it in here anyway because it's too late now, is the mentality. Ugh, my God. When you have 2 single people like Jen and I who join forces, you get a bunch of stuff that you're like not real sure what you want to do with it. And like we used mostly her stuff that she had, you know, we used like some of my stuff, but I had like furniture and things from my past and all that just got put in storage. Because at the time, you know, I don't know that you say, I guess you are emotional about it, but not really. It's not like I was crying like, oh my God, I can't throw away this chair. It wasn't like that, right? But there's just something about it. You know, you look at stuff and you're like, well, I don't want to throw that away. That's very useful. And you're not really thinking rationally about it at the time. You're just like, no, we'll just go put it in storage. Not a big deal. Then 3 years later, you look at your storage bill and you're like, yeah, let's just not talk about that. Like, that's just not a thing. So I knuckled down and I said, you know, my storage bill goes to the 5th of the month. So I was like, before the 5th of June, I'm going to reduce my footprint in storage by a tremendous amount. That's what we did. So anyway, long story short, we did that today. So Jen's not with us today again, but not because her back's hurting or anything, but because she's working. She's at the office taking care of everybody's orders today. She got a late start on it because we were out in the middle of nowhere lifting heavy stuff. And over there finishing up. Probably join us on Friday, assuming nothing else goes wrong. We will not be streaming on Thursday this week. I've got a guest appearance on a podcast that I have to do, that I committed to. And the only time they record their deal is Thursdays, right when we're streaming. So I don't think that I will get any extra time to bust away. It's kind of an awkward deal. It's not like right when we start so I could come back and do the stream just for shorter. It's kind of they start like 30 minutes after we normally start, and then they go, you know, till about 30 minutes to when we normally would stop on Thursday. So I don't think I'll be able to. I might surprise you and stream a little bit, but don't hold your breath. We might just say we'll be back on Friday because of that. All right. So again, just kind of fade that off as we go down. I don't want all this. I still want to keep the volume of the barrel correct, so I just want a little bit of brightness on the top of some of these, and then as it goes underneath, there's just not much other than maybe a little texture to the grain that starts showing up is the goal there. That's what I get, right, Vamp? Make it purple heartwood, and it'd be a very expensive, right? Purple heartwood, and you get that that like the wormwood guy that makes the dice boxes out of purple heartwood. They're like $250. It's like no. You move to Australia, then back to the U.S. Storage unit issue resolved. Yeah, exactly. I've just learned over the years. Well, I say I've learned over the years, but it really I haven't learned anything, right? Because I figured that I learned that anytime you move, it's a good excuse to get rid of about half your crap, right? And then you just have to get into that mode of, okay, don't buy more crap. That's the hard one, though, right? Because, like, Orkanaut, what is going on? Thank you so much for that, host. Welcome, welcome. Right? I mean, the hard part is not the throwing the stuff away. It's the remembering not to buy more stuff. Welcome, everybody coming over from Orkanaut. We are working on a troll, or actually, it's a pig. He's not a full-blood troll. They don't get to become trolls just because they're part of the army. He's a pig. We're working on this pig barrel rider. He's part of my Northkin Raider unit, and I am showing off some of the techniques that I'm working on to utilize our transparents that we're coming out with. We make our own paint line here called Pro Acryl. If you haven't heard of Creature Caster, feel free to type !store in chat. It'll give you the link over to the Creature Caster store. We make amazing models, if I do say so myself, along with some really, really cool hobby products. Our brushes, like the ones I'm using now, and our sables and paints and all that kind of good stuff. So I am right now going to be showing you how our transparents do really, really well for things like wood and textured fur and things like that. And you can be, I guess, lazy, sloppy. What would we call this? I feel like that's what I want to call it, right? Is you can be kind of lazy in the method that you use to paint stuff like this, just because the transparent works so well that all I have to really do is set up some value on this barrel so I can get some volumes going, right? I get some highlight. I get some shadow. I'm over brightening it, right? So anybody looking at it, you know, it's not going to be this bright once we do the transparent on it, but I have to go ahead and be thinking that way anytime you're going to be filtering. We call taking a transparent or a wash or, you know, a glaze or any of that is really a method called filtering when you want to talk about painting. You're putting one color primarily on top of another, and you get some unique things that happen there. You can get darkening of the color below. You can get blending. There's all sorts of ways to achieve really cool color and contrast by filtering. And one of the neat things is that it also handles fixing blends. It can blend colors really well, not only for hue, but also like along the edges, right? Like right now I'm just being really rough. I'm just throwing paint at this thing. I'm not really worried. I'm not blending anything. My brush strokes are loose. The only thing I'm paying attention to is not getting color in the grain. So I'm using the side of the brush the whole time and just kind of swiping it along. But I get a good grain and texture, and I've brought the texture out really nice, right? So we can see the texture across the entire barrel, right? Now, obviously it doesn't look like very much of a good barrel right now. Like I said, our yellow golden brown that we just used for the brightest highlight intrudes into the yellow that I've used for the troll skin, right? And now I am going to add just a little bit, in this case I'm going to use the new olive skin tone that is part of the new set as well. I'm going to use a little olive skin tone and mix it with the golden brown to get a little bit of a brighter color that I can use to do just a little bit of final value adjustment on this barrel before we go in with the filter. So by value, it just means I want to get my brightness and my darkness on this thing correctly. Notice how I flattened out the brush. See, I'm not going for a point. I want it wide and flat. That way when I use the side of it, I get a nice fanned out section that applies paint on here. And it gives me a texture. So I want to put this brighter mix across the top of the barrel, wherever the direct light source is. In this case, I'm just painting all of these trolls as if it's sunlight, right? Just light from above. Nothing too fancy. And I'll just get these areas around, 10 and 2 on the model, right? We'll just get some brightness We won't go down any further than that, really. A little right there. We already got a little right there. And then we'll do just a little bit on like the top edge of the grain on the side like that. Notice how we've created a shadow here that looks like the overhang. The lip of the barrel is making that kind of half moon shadow happen there. So we want to start right at that area and just come down a little bit, streak that down just a hair along that shadow. And just kind of gives you the feel. Like I said, we're just creating volumes right now. Same thing over here. We've got that half moon shadow. So we just want to take this brush in here right at the spot where that darkness meets the light. Just real simple, short brush strokes down. Like so. Same thing. We get that little shadow. That's all we're looking for. You can see once you get used to this kind of stuff happens really quick. Right? Throwing this paint on there and now having the barrel have a good volume to it. Darker at the bottom, brighter at the top. You know, you're going overly bright. Like this isn't the color of the barrel that we want at all, but it is browns. So our brown transparent when laid on top of this will keep it all in browns. We're not trying to shift it into reds or like somebody mentioned like purple heartwood or anything like that, right? Dano Paint, speaking of new sets, when are the paints coming? Is that the question? Yeah, they're being bottled as we speak. Well, maybe not right now. Well, it is 2:30, so maybe they are being bottled right now. I don't know. I'm here. I'm not there. But the new paints are being bottled this week. I did all the bottle count yesterday, got all the verification that all the bottles were correct, all the colors were present, and then we'll be starting bottling all the new colors along with white, black, red, yellow, and the 3 blues from the current set because those are the ones were the lowest on. Droppers, what about drop? Paint racks are not ready yet, and empty droppers will come with the new paints, if that's what you're asking. So you will be able to buy empty bottles again once the new paints hit, for sure. Myrtle, what's going on? Love your face. Not right. Can you do me a favor? Can you tell her I said thank you for the quick turnaround? Yes, definitely. Oh, did she give you a note on the receipt? Nice. We always say thank you for supporting us. That's just part of what we do. We're nice people. You wouldn't believe it by dealing with me, but we are, kinda, most of the time. Ish. Nixon, when are the paints likely to hit the UK? I would assume. So the way that we bottle, we don't bottle per country, we bottle per color. So we'll go through and like we'll finish all. So by the time all the colors are bottled, all the countries have provisions set aside for them for their stock. It'll just be that it'll take longer to ship to the UK than it will to the US. Let's say in a perfect world, next Friday we ship out paints. Right? I don't know that that's going to happen. I'm not making promises, but let's say by next Friday we're done and we ship out paints. Then they'll hit us the following week to get to the US by freight. Usually takes about 4 to 5 days to hit the US by freight from Canada. The UK is about 2 weeks, right? So there's the issue. So if we did ship them out to you, which we have a plan, we'll be shipping to the UK at the same time, but you're probably going to lag by 10 days after you see them in the US, I would say. Something like that. So not too long, but I know how that goes, right? It's like, oh, damn, you know, not at the same time. Oh, delicious water. All right, let's grab some transparent brown. Boing. I'm going to show you some of the other models, if I can remember where I put them, that I have been working on with this method. Bomber, where's the bomber? Bomber. Waller. and the axer. I finished my beasts, basically, other than the markers on the bases. They're pretty done. I've got to do the line of sight stuff on the bases. But you can see I've used this same technique for doing all of these as I've been practicing with the transparent brown and what I can get it to do for all of my leathers. Right? So one of the things that is really cool that I'll show you is that, like this bag, right, holding our little devious whelp there, but the bag and the straps and the armbands and everything on here that is brown, basically, were done this exact same way that I'm doing this barrel that I'm showing you, right? So I painted, this took like 3 minutes to do this bag. It was literally a base of dark umber, light umber, and instead of the golden yellow like I'm doing on the wood, I took the light umber and mixed it with ivory to get a tan. So, but I did that everywhere. You can see on the armbands up here, right? Same thing, right? It's just kind of a tan that I go up to, but it was highlighted to this kind of extreme value that you see on the barrel, right? That bag was just as bright and weird looking as this barrel, right? This barrel looks like bleached bone wood or something like that, right? Like raw ash or something. And then I put the brown transparent over it. And the difference between the dark brown straps, the dark brown leather on the wrist and the elbow here versus everywhere else is just the amount of water I added to the transparent, how much I thinned the transparent paint. This entire model, everywhere where you see brown, was painted identically the same. If you'd have looked at it initially, which I didn't take any pictures, there's one picture, though, of the bomber on the Instagram that shows what it all looked like before the transparent paint hit it. But all of these straps, belts, everything looked identical. They all were the exact same color, highlighted the exact same way. All of the leather looked exactly the same. Then I wanted to try to come back with the brown transparent and just dilute it to different levels to get the various colors of leather that I wanted, and it worked great. I basically got 3, right? I got this bag as a medium brown, this rich brown on the straps, the belts, and the wrist guards and elbow here, and then the lighter straps in here, I even diluted it more. So this kind of almost looks like it could be cloth instead of leather straps, right? So I got basically 3 levels of brown by painting this all the same way. So that is a really, really good way to up your speed when painting, because you can just say, okay, what's leather? And do it all the same. 2 or 3 colors. You just want a dark color and some value on it. So depending on how fast you want to go, you could have done this bag with just 2 colors. Dark brown, light brown. And then put the transparent over the top of it. I chose to go dark brown, medium brown, light brown. Just to give a little bit more depth to it, that you'll get at the end of the day. But you just put in rough textures. I mean, you can see on that bag, you can see my brush strokes still, right? You can see that I was just slapping paint on it, right? But for leather, that works really well. You know, it gives you the feel like his other fist is down here trying to poke out. I just did 3 quick, stripes, and I haven't highlighted this at all after the transparent. This is just the transparent as a top coat, and I won't highlight these again. That's why I take it up so bright with the light brown and create this weird contrast on things, right? So that when I put the transparent back on, I still have all of this like scritchy detail, right? The stitching in here, I haven't painted over at all. I haven't done any highlighting back over it. This is just the way it'll be, and it'll be the same with the barrel when we do it, right? So very, very simple to do. Same thing with all of these guys. All of the brown on here is done. I just went and did all these models exactly the same, all the way up to tan, real bright tan, and then knocked it all back at various levels of thinness with the transparent brown, right? And we just get a fantastic leather look out of all of it, even though these were very, very pale tan. As much as, you'll be blown away when you see what happens to this barrel, right? These barrels were done exactly like this barrel. So it's just an amazing way to do stuff. I'm super thrilled with it. It's very controllable, as you can hopefully see, unlike a wash that would kind of stain an area and get buildup of darkness where you didn't want it. This is completely controllable. I don't get any darkness or pooling of our transparents, nothing. It just goes where you want it to go, the way you want it to go there, and works perfectly. So I'm super stoked on this stuff. Super stoked for you guys to have it in your hands. How's the testing on the medium? Good. Good. It won't be ready to release with the colors just because we're too far down in time right now. So we won't be adding, I don't think, the medium and the varnishes and the flow improver to this release, but they'll come probably soon after, question mark. We'll have them. We can bottle them when we need to. I just want to focus this release on the 24 new colors primarily, and then we'll kind of go from there. We've got 16 regular colors and then the transparents that are hitting. We're super stoked. Is this the 4? Yeah, this is number 4. So I'm just going to take my number 4 brush, same one I used to paint this thing with, and I'm going to load it up with quite a bit of water. And I'm going to thin this down. I want this barrel to be pretty dark, so I'm only going to use like one brush load full of water, right? And then I'm literally, right, all we're going to do is come right over the top of this. Let's zoom back out just a hair. Right? And I'm literally just going to paint this evenly over the top. So unlike a wash, I do need to be moving this around, right? Because it won't pool in the shadows. I got to put it everywhere I want it, right? And we'll just see what one coat does. Most of what I've been doing, I've only been doing one coat.
Well, huzzah, huzzah! I'll just throw back my legs and pollute my breeches with delight.
Huzzah, huzzah! Armin's Wrath, what is going on, man? Good to see you. Right? So just like a paint, you got to keep it moving. Unlike a wash, this stuff won't sit around and let you play with it for long. It's a paint. This is an acrylic paint. So I've got to go through, put it where I want it, and then move to the next spot. I don't want to come back over the top of any of this stuff I've done, because just like a normal acrylic color, you'll get more opacity with it. You know, washes, you can continue to hit the same area, and until you have it set up and drying, right, you don't normally get it to layer up. That's not the way washes work.
Somebody likes us.
Right? Kendron, what's going on? Thank you so much for that follow. Welcome, welcome. Hope everybody's enjoying their week so far. Just kicking off. Our first stream day on Tuesdays here.
Well, huzzah, huzzah! I'll just throw back my legs and pollute my breeches with delight.
Just poop your britches with delight, man. Just do it. Let it go. Busting chops, what's going on? All right. So let's just see how that sets up. I stopped it at a crease in the boards, or a seam in the boards, and look at the difference. And look how simply you get amazing, rich wood, where I don't really feel the need to have to go back over this and highlight it or shade it anymore or do anything to it. Look at the evenness of the color. It just goes where you want it to, but it really, really draws out that brightness and darkness that you set up on there. And notice how it is so important to go ultra bright, right? Way brighter than I want, just so I can have brightness and darkness, so that when this transparent comes over, it evens it out. Right? But look how great the brown works with all of our other browns, right? And now we've knocked it back down to where we've got this really, really good wood color, nice, rich looking, but it doesn't interfere with the skin of the trolls anymore. You know, where this was like the highlight on the troll skin, now we bang it back down with a coat. Now, again, I'm not running this very thin, right? I'm using this pretty thick, so I'm getting a lot of the brown pigment out of the transparent paint. If you were to thin it down a lot more, you would get a much more yellowy look to it, because more of that undercoat of golden brown would show through. Right? So I think you're going to have a lot of fun playing with it, just seeing what you can come up with and how it works and how different it looks just by going through and thinning it out, you know, with another brush load of water. It's not even got to be that big of a deal. Right? You're not talking about, well, do I add a cup of water to it? No, literally just another brush load of water will alter the way it looks with the base coat completely. And like that leather I just showed you on the Axer, it can give you multiple levels of browns. In this case is what we're doing here. Just super easy. All right, and the middle's already dry. Right, so unlike a wash, that's already dry. It dries as fast as our normal paint, because it's just an acrylic paint. It's just a transparent paint instead of a wash. There's nothing fancy, scientific about it. It's literally just the same as our acrylics. We've just done some magic with the medium so that it'll suspend this transparency a lot better than just a paint that, you know, has less pigment in it. You'll notice that when you get your hands on these, they are very, very pigment dense, right? You'll just look at how rich that brown is even after thinning it down. And I just want to make sure it gets everywhere. So I'm getting it into the shadows. This is as easy as painting gets right here. This inner ring, even though we just painted that with the darkest color to give off that contrast. Notice how if I want to darken up this yellow that's on there, I can already go right over it. I haven't had to let it dry like a wash would. I can put a second coat right over the top of that when it's wet, and it will darken itself right up. Boom. Super easy. And you can put this brown over any color you want. Any of the transparents. There's 8 colors coming out in the set. Brown, black, yellow, orange, red, green, blue, brown. I think that's it. 8. Maybe I didn't name them all. Purple. All of them can be mixed. I've been mixing a lot of the green and the brown together. Make sure I don't have paint on my hands. Right, so like the base, all the rock that you see here on the Mauler, all that rock, that green mossy look, and the oranges and the brown, it's all in here. That's all our transparents. Just thinned way down and mixed green and brown and orange together and just slopped it on, right? Like literally just, you know, whipping it around on the rock to give it, and the rest of it's just gray dry brush. So, I mean, this base was super, super fast to do. So I've been mixing a lot of the green and the brown together. The orange in there too gives it a really good look for things like, you know, iron oxide and rock and stuff like that. So looks really good. Okay, Jones, what's going on? Release date, I'm hoping if one Friday is this Friday, 3 Fridays. So 2 full weeks and the rest of this week. My hope. Cross our fingers. We're bottling right now, so it really just comes down to how fast we can get all the colors bottled. We have all the products. You know, we've got all the bottles and stuff. That was a big holdup for a long time. And so now we're mixing and bottling, and we'll be going throughout the week on that. We've got a new model release that we're working on as well, but paint right now is the top priority. So hopefully we won't see any holdups between now and then. We've ordered a new bottling machine, as a matter of fact, to keep production going, make sure if there's a problem we can not have to wait. So we're doing all the right things, but we're still small. You know, I mean, the reality is no matter what we do, we're still a very small paint company. So bottling is probably, it takes the most out of us. We don't bottle here in Arizona. We bottle at our Canadian warehouse. So Jen and I don't get to help. Those guys are great, and they'll keep us posted throughout the course of this week. And once all the color, we're not going to release piecemeal. All the colors will get done, and then we'll get it all at once. But I would like to cross my fingers and hope that by end of next week, we're done with bottling and that we can move towards shipping. That would be the perfect plan. So everybody cross your fingers, and let's hope that's the way it looks. We'll keep you posted. Keep asking in chat. Notice how that value that we set up, we still get the brightest point of the wood right along the top. That bright highlight down below. All the spot where we gave volume to the barrel is still there, right? But look at how different, right? We painted with this. This is how we did it. Super bright to super dark so that we could get this filter to lay over it and give us exactly what we want. And so as you play with them, once you get the transparency in your hand and play with them more and more, I think you'll find out, like, how bright do you need to go to get this kind of effect? How dark can you keep it and still have the filter show up the way you want. Some people have been asking, can I do this kind of stuff with like blue or purple over black armor? And the answer is resoundingly yes. You don't have to go super bright in order to get it to work. You could keep like armor on a Space Marine really dark and blacks and grays, and then filter the blue over. You just won't see as much of the blue.
Back my legs and pollute my britches with delight.
But that might be exactly what you're looking for, is just that hint. So if you just want a hint of color, generally you're not going to go as bright with your base coats. Right? Thank you so much, Dogcat Jones. Mucho apreciado. So, unlike stuff like the contrast paints that are coming out from GW, more like the kind of army painter method, what we're telling you here is to set up your values the way you want them, pre-highlight. It could be as simple as just doing a really quick pre-highlight with the airbrush, right? But set up those values the way you want, so you get the volumes and shadows where you want them on the model. Don't rely on the wash to put shadows where you think they need to go. Be a little bit more in control. You'll like your model better at the end of the day. And then just hit these with the transparents, and you get such a great coloring out of it. And then I could go over this with another coat. This is just one coat, right? I could go over it with another coat, and it would darken that brown down even more. But I'm right where I want to be, right? I've practiced this on a couple of the other models, and this is exactly what I've been looking for out of the wood here. We did the same thing on the Hoo Trawler, the big battle engine for trolls. It's just basically a big barrel of beer is what it is. There's no other way to put it, right? The Hoo Trawler is a big barrel of beer. And as such, you basically, it's all wood. And so we airbrushed it to get our values on there. Notice how I'm going over with a second coat on this in panel just to darken it up a little bit, and I didn't have to wait. That's literally one coat and then another coat right over it, and it takes immediately because it's paint. Nothing fancy. Boom. And there you go. One coat of brown transparent, right? It's all already dried except for the end that we just did, right? So all this stuff is already dry. And that's how it looks.